When we're playing games, no matter what type of game it is that we're playing, we can't help but test the boundaries. See how far the game's willing to let us go before pulling us back and telling us that we're stepping outside of the bounds of the intended experience. And a lot of the time, games do that in different ways. Sometimes, we might not even be stepping outside of these aforementioned bounds and doing something that the game pretty much allows us to do, and the game might still react in interesting ways. So in this feature, we're going to take a look at 15 games that do just that. Skyrim. Skyrim's the sort of game that's built around the idea that every player will tackle it in completely different ways, and that's something that it encourages. But the one unspoken rule that every Skyrim player knows by heart is this: never attack the chickens. Most of us learned this lesson the hard way, when we first entered Riverwood on our first playthrough. As we lay our eyes on the street right after entering the village, we took in the sights and spotted a chicken walking down the road. And like we do in every other game, for some inexplicable reason, we attacked that chicken, only to realize that the chicken holds a dear place in the hearts of all Riverwood inhabitants, and that they will take any attack on it as an attack on themselves, and they'll come at you with everything they've got until you are dead. The Legend of Zelda. Skyrim, of course, isn't the only game that hates it when you attack chickens. Called Cuckoos in The Legend of Zelda, every game in the series also follows this philosophy, and the way it penalizes players for attacking Cuckoos repeatedly is very well known to gamers by now. Though Cuckoos will tolerate a few hits from players, they'll lose their patience after a while, resulting in you being attacked by an entire barrage of Cuckoos who can peck you to death in a matter of seconds. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening was a weird little game that, in spite of sticking to the established Zelda formula, tried a lot of bizarre things. One such element saw you getting permanently labeled as a thief as a result of your actions. One shop in the game allows players to steal items and escape without having to pay the shopkeeper. But if you do manage to do that, every NPC in the entirety of the rest of the game only calls you Thief instead of the name that you've chosen at the beginning of the game. Grand Theft Auto. Though this hasn't really been the case of late, older Grand Theft Auto games presented players with massive maps but didn't allow you to explore all of it right from the very beginning. There were some sections that were locked away to be accessed only after you'd reached a certain point in the story. You could of course try and get to those areas anyway, but this would probably result in you getting ridiculously high wanted level, with swarms of choppers, SWAT teams, tanks, and what have you all barreling down at you. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. If there's one thing from GTA San Andreas that we all remember, not very fondly, it's the fact that all we had to do was follow the damn train. Big Smoke's insistence that we had to accomplish one simple task, which we somehow managed to fail at even in the face of the mission's clearly frustrating difficulty, has become a meme unto itself at this point. Perhaps this is one instance where we'd had enough of the game's nonsense as well. Metal Gear Solid. Codex calls are bread and butter for any Metal Gear Solid game. Not only do they end up providing really useful hints and tips, they also add to the series' lore immensely and are often also pivotal for the development of various ancillary characters. If you're anything like us, you've probably tried spamming characters in MGS with Codex calls until they had nothing new to say countless times. One character who didn't take too kindly to that? Mei Ling, who would flat out start giving you the silent treatment if she ever got tired of you calling her for no good reason. Metal Gear Solid 3. Hideo Kojima likes to cram his games full of meta moments and moments that break the fourth wall. One of the most meta moments in the entire series came in Metal Gear Solid 3. If players ever tried to kill Ocelot in a particular scene where he was laying unconscious in front of Naked Snake, you'd immediately get a game over screen, telling you that you'd created a time paradox, which makes sense because 90% of the things that happen in the entire series happen because of Ocelot's quadruple agent shenanigans. Dark Souls. We all like attacking friendly NPCs in games just to see how they'll react. If you do that in Dark Souls, however, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. Because if you do attack them, boy will they lose their marbles. They'll come at you with everything they have and they will not stop. If they're merchants, they'll refuse to sell you their wares too. You can pay a different NPC to absolve you of your sins, but that can be a pretty expensive price to pay. Dark Souls 2. One of the most unique and interesting aspects of Dark Souls 2's PvP. If there's ever a player who's accumulated too many sin points, which you can accrue by attacking and killing friendly NPCs, or by invading others' games and killing them, and the like, you open yourself up to being invaded by another player as a Blue Sentinel Arbiter spirit. Sonic CD. Sonic the Hedgehog is, and always has been, all about going fast, and the very antithesis of going fast is doing nothing at all and standing still. Sonic CD took this to heart and actually penalized its players if they ever put their controller down and didn't touch it for a period of time. If you do nothing and have Sonic stand still in the game for 3 minutes, the blue hedgehog, tired of your unwillingness to go fast, or go at all really, will leave the screen and instantly trigger a game over state. Batman: Arkham City. Hugo Strange's walled-off section of what was once an area in Gotham is now essentially a city for maniacs and criminals to run around freely in. It's not just a prison for the bad guys. Even Batman, the Caped Crusader himself, finds himself stuck in Arkham City. And if you ever try to leave its confines, you'll find that there are some things even the Dark Knight can't beat. Try flying over Arkham City's walls and out into Gotham proper, and you'll immediately be shot down and killed by a barrage of bullets from deadly turrets. Red Dead Redemption 2. For every person who spent the first half of Red Dead Redemption 2 spamming hello and howdy and hey there mister at every NPC in the game, there's two people who weren't nearly as nice in their playthroughs. If you're one of those people and decided to be an antagonizing prick to everyone in your camp, it won't take long for even your closest friends to get tired of your ways and knock you out and leave you stranded a distance away from the camp. Moral of the story? Be nice to people in your camp. Except for Micah. That guy had it coming. Overwatch. Smack talk in online games is something that we've all grown accustomed to and take for granted, but sometimes it can get a little annoying, to say the least. Overwatch has its own unique way of minimizing it, or a very specific form of smack talk at the very least. Anytime you try to type GGEZ in the game's chat, which is just a snide way of saying that the game that you just won was ridiculously easy, the game will automatically change that chat to either an over-the-top civil message, something like, "Well played, I salute you all," or to messages that'll make you hang your head in shame, with some of the best of these being, quote, "It's past my bedtime, please don't tell my mommy," and, quote, "I'm wrestling with some insecurity issues in my life, but thank you all for playing with me." Shadow Warrior. There's games like Skyrim and Zelda, which consider hitting chickens to be the most heinous of crimes, and then there's games like 2013's Shadow Warrior, which has no tolerance for violence against bunnies. Kill 3 or more helpless, defenseless bunnies in the game, and you'll be attacked by a terrifying demon rabbit, who will surprise you with how dangerous and deadly it can be, even with just a few hits. Halo. Friendly fire is something we've all dabbled in, to varying degrees, while playing games, but Halo has little tolerance for this. Fire away and start killing any friendly soldiers by your side, and they'll quickly decide that you've gone rogue, and that you need to be put down. Of course, they might not put up too much of a challenge for you, but it's still fun seeing them try to bring you down. And that wraps it up. If you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing to our channel. We upload new videos daily. Also, don't forget to switch on the bell notification icon, that way you don't miss out on any of our videos.